If we could change one thing in this world to make it better, I would say make better moms. Dads are important. In fact, this whole video is directed at you, Dad, for the most part. But if you do your job in raising your little girl to be an awesome young woman, an awesome wife, an awesome mother, you, Dad, will improve the world. For instance, I'm a big NFL guy. I am, and I'm really missing it, by the way. I'm having withdrawals, so I can't wait till fall. But how many times have you listened to a super successful NFL player who comes from a broken home? There's no dad in his life, but there's a very strong maternal figure. It might be the grandmother, it might be the mom. And he goes on camera, he's crying, it's heartfelt, and he goes, "I would not be here without you." That's what I'm talking about. Mom is critical to young boys, to young girls, of imparting everything in life. Sense of empathy, hard work, golden rule, accountability, non-entitlement. A good mother can change society. She can change the world. Moms will. And you, Dad, start by raising an awesome daughter. I love this video series. Love it. In part 1, we talked about love your little girls. Show her affection, honest, wholesome affection. That teaches her she's accepted and loved. It's the foundation for everything else you'll do. Model to her what it's like to be a real man. Look in the mirror. Make changes as necessary. Nobody's perfect, and I really mean that. No one is. Expose her to hardship, hard work. That makes her better, makes her non-entitled, gives her skill sets in life that she'll draw upon later. We also talked about trust her with dangerous things. Teach her to shoot, for instance. Take her backpacking. Teach her to ride vehicles of all sorts and descriptions. Teach her tools, mechanical skills, electrical skills. If you don't know them yourself, learn them. And then we ended part 1 by talking about setting and enforcing ground rules in your household. How do we interact with social media? How do we interact with boys? What's a sex thing going to be like in our family? You need to teach it and be very honest about it in your household. And then we continue with part 2. And I'm going to start by saying this. And maybe you know this, maybe you don't. I can't remember if I've said it. I've revealed it to you. But I come from a broken home. I don't come from a Leave It to Beaver background. My dad's dead. He has been for a very long time. Died in our plane crash. But before then, he and my mom divorced when I was 7 years old. When my mom and dad were together as a little kid, I can still remember some things. A lot of things, actually. And I remember this. And it's kind of sad, but I think a lot of us come from this background and we need to overcome it. I remember a lot of yelling and shouting, screaming in the middle of the night. I remember some physical abuse. I remember a lot of sad times. I remember being scared as a kid. I remember not being certain where I was going to end up. I remember custody battles. And I remember bouncing between my mom and dad after they were divorced. At the time, he lived in Virginia. My mom lived in Alabama, and I would ride a Greyhound bus for about 34, 36 hours to go visit mom down in Alabama, live with her. That's just the dead truth right there. So I don't want to get in front of the camera and act like, oh, everything was perfect for me. It wasn't. And a lot of my vision for my family was born out of my own experience and upbringing. Basically, I said, you know what? I'm not doing that. Now, I've done a series of videos called Lessons of My Father, things that Dad did correct, lessons of my mother, things she did right, and I took the good and I left the bad aside. I hope we all do that. And so the message in this part 2 that I'm going to start off with is if things are not idyllic, they're not perfect in your family situation, change them. If you come from a broken home, it's okay. A lot of us did. Doesn't mean life is over for you. Tomorrow's a new day. The sun comes up tomorrow. Start afresh. If you've been a bad dad, for instance, to your children, you've been an absentee father, change. You don't have to do it in, one huge, monumentous effort. Small things. Change in this area. Change in that area. Become a part of your daughter's life. She'll learn that you're really around. She can trust you. She can depend upon you. And maybe you get a quality relationship from there. and you can build upon the things we're talking about in this video. But don't think all is lost. It's not. Life goes on for you. It went on for me. And now in my family, very happy. I love how my family is. Doesn't mean we're perfect. Doesn't mean we don't yell at each other. Doesn't mean there's no drama in my family. There's plenty. It's normal for families. But we love each other. We progress. And underlying is a sense of love, acceptance, support, all the stuff we're talking about. Number 6, the awesome daughter, how to raise her. Again, there's 1,000 things we could talk about. These are just a few things. They're also applicable to boys. We're focusing on daughters who become wives, who become moms, who can change the world. Make her independent. Dispel her fears. Now, little boys have fears too. I know I did. My dad worked on me. Did a great job. That's one of the things he did right. Little girls have more fears, it seems like. They're scared of everything. Their shadow, dark woods, dark rooms. Dad, you need to help her through this process. Be understanding and yet have a plan. Have a vision of overcoming these fears. Because in some sense, in my opinion, that's all it is. They can be debilitating for her. She needs to function and not be fearful in life. Because sometimes fear paralyzes us into inaction. I'm not going to do this because I'm fearful. And no, I'm not just talking about scared of certain things, but scared of life, scared of failure. We have to overcome our fear. Doesn't mean we can eliminate it. That's impossible. We need to manage our fear. And maybe that's a better way to say this, is teach her to manage her fear. And in the process, make her independent. One of the things you can do this, huge by the way, is daddy-daughter outings. I mentioned it in part 1, but take her backpacking. Take her hiking with you. Out in the dark and scary woods. And teach her like my dad taught me, there's nothing to be scared of out there. You're not going to be attacked by wild animals. It's peaceful. It's safe. As long as you're smart, like you don't get hypothermia, you're prepared, all the stuff I've talked about, you'll be fine. It'll go a long ways to give her, again, that self-esteem we're seeking to give her, dispelling and helping her manage her fears. Just like we talked about under hardship, allow her to fail. Maybe it's on a hike. Maybe, you take her out mountain biking and she crashes as she's coming down the hill. Not the end of the world. Maybe she'll get a little banged up. See the big picture. Dad, mom too. The big picture is she overcomes hardship, she manages her fear, and she can function in life when things go wrong. If you present to your daughter a life that is idyllic and overly protective, what have you done for her to prepare her for life that is difficult? You've done her a disservice. A lot of the girls that Tactical Doodle is dating come from this background. They were overprotected by their moms, by their dads, and now they enter life with this attitude. It's a sense of entitlement again. It's a sense of, oh my gosh, I'm too good to do that. And it's a sense of fear. Oh, I fear this person. I fear that person. No, they need to be exposed to all types of experiences and situations. That's your job as a dad. Maybe if she, and I mentioned this in part 1, maybe if she is afraid of the water, you get a little inflatable raft and you go floating around in a city pond. By the way, I did that with my kids. Here's a photo. And my kids weren't totally digging the water, either of them. Tactical Doodle wasn't digging the water, neither was Last Suspect. To overcome Last Suspect's phobia, and by the way, there's a big span of years between the two, 7 years apart, these two boys. We were in a different state then, so I was like, I'm going to get a little inflatable pool, maybe a big inflatable pool, and I'm going to teach him to swim. And that's what I did. And he wasn't digging it. There were a lot of family fights, but he overcame it, and he became kind of comfortable in the water. He's not like, a master swimmer, but it was something. And it was my job as a dad to overcome his fear, to manage his fear. Do the same thing with your daughters. Allow her to do solo projects. Maybe it's a school project. Don't do it all for her. Manage it. If she fails, life sucks sometimes. She needs to deal with that. Maybe she should plan her time better. manage her priorities better. We're talking academic stuff. Maybe she should take shop. I think that's a great skill for girls to have. You know, granted, she's going to be in the minority, and maybe girls take shop all the time. I don't really know. And I'm talking about like in middle school, high school, metal shop, wood shop. It's great. Hey, I'm scared to do this. I'm scared of the table saw. Learn how to run it safely, just like we talked about in Dangerous Things. But I think dad's modeling of how to handle life's fears will go directly to your daughters. To your boys too, but we're focusing on daughters. You know, are you scared of this, scared of that? Well, she will be too. Next point. Teach mechanical aptitude. I mentioned shop already. I truly believe this. Now, let me tell you this. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but here it goes. When I was a teenager, I sat down. This is kind of funny, and I don't know if any other guy that's ever done this, but I made like a series of notes of qualities I wanted my wife to have. No, this isn't a joke. I'm dead serious. And yes, I could show it to you now, but it's private. I don't want you to know it at this point. Maybe later. I covered everything from physical appearance. Yes. You know, what my wife to look like. What's wrong with that, man? You know, it's just what it is what it is. I covered her personality attributes, her work capabilities, and other categories that I honestly forget. But it gave me a game plan while I was dating. Okay? And the reason I bring this up now is because I think somewhere on that list was mechanical aptitude of one sort or another. In other words, being able to solve life's problems, being a critical thinker, helping me out. And the reason it was important to me, and it still is because if things go to crap, WROL, I want my life's partner to be able to buck up and help out. There's the truth. That's it. Or an emergency in life. How's she going to handle it? I didn't get everything on my list, by the way. And guess what? She's not going to get everything on her list. You're not. It's good to have a list, and I'm talking about for your wife, your husband, what qualities, attributes do you want him or her to have? You're not going to get everything. You're just going to have to prioritize and go, this is important. Maybe that's not so important. And every person's different. So I would come back from a date, break out my 6-page list, or whatever it was. It's around there. Both sides, by the way. There was a lot there. Kind of wish I would have reviewed it prior to this video because there's some funny stuff in there. And I would see how the girls stacked up. You know, go down all the areas. Hey, man, she was awesome at this, awesome at that, awesome at that, not so great at that, not so great at that, and on it went. Now, some of you guys may not be surprised that I was so methodical in dating, right? Hey, Nutton, you're methodical. We know that about you. Granted, okay, in a lot of things I am. In some other ways, I'm not at all. I'm very right brain, very creative, open-ended. Maybe I'll tell you about that later. But I think it's important to have a framework, a list, as I did, when you're seeking out a life's companion. Okay? And let's get back to Mrs. Nutnfancy. Let's get back to this mechanical aptitude. She checked that box because of her dad. Her dad taught her how to do a lot of things. For instance, she got her own car. She changed her own oil. She knew how to check tire pressure. She knew how to change oil filters. Her dad made her do all that. Good job, Dad. We should do that as fathers. Teach her mechanical aptitude. And now I don't know if her dad's actually responsible for this, but Mrs. Nutton has an amazing ability to project, to build things. And I'm talking furniture. Use all sorts of power tools, routers, table saws, staple guns. She can just figure stuff out. She's made all types of furniture, and I'm not making any of this up. And I'll come home and she has this thing created that's huge. She's amazing. She's industrious too. That was a checked box. You know, she gets it done. I admire that. Now, again, we get back to the personalities of our daughters. Maybe they're not like this at all, but we can still kind of take them to the next level. For instance, when they do get to be driving age, go back to car maintenance. They should be a part of that. They should know everything about the car. Hey, this is the air conditioning compressor. This is the engine. This is where the gas tank is. This is the alternator. This is the battery. This is how you check a battery. Simple stuff. It's important. You know, these are the fuses. This is how we do basic repairs. If you can, teach your critical thinking. And it's difficult. And I've done this with my boys a lot. I'll take them out when there's a problem in the shop. Maybe it's with a motorcycle wiring thing. And I'll say, how do we solve this problem? What's going on? Talking about simple stuff like changing a bike tire. You know, I teach them, and a couple weeks later, when we're riding a lot, another flat would come about. I was like, hey, change this tire. I don't know how. I just showed you how. And it didn't seem like he was getting it. But little by little, as he got older, these life lessons in critical thinking and mechanical skills aptitude came back. Now he's a pro. He's actually the mechanic, the best mechanic in the family. Tactical doodle. You just do the best you can. That's all you can do, man. You know, changing a bike tire, good example. I gave you that birdhouse example, right? Doing a project together. A lot of critical thinking in that. Hey, should we put a door on it? What size should the hole be? How do we drill this hole? How do we, staple the boards together, screw them together? What kind of wood should we use? How should we angle the house? Where should we put it? What kind of birds are we trying to attract? A great project for dad and daughter in the shop. Do a nightstand together. Talking about critical thinking. Yeah, it's kind of a wood shop thing, but do it with your daughter in the shop. Lots of great lessons there. And I'll tell you what, dads, she will always remember those lessons. Maybe not immediately like my boys, but later in life they'll come back to her and they will serve her in a lot of different ways. And they may be very attractive to a quality man who likes that, who can appreciate that skill set that you imparted to your little girl. Teach mechanical aptitude. Next one, number 8. And dads, you may be surprised I'm putting this on your list because you may think it's all mom's job. But teach your daughter mom skills. What? What does that mean? Well, I introed with talking about how important I think moms are to society. And I will stand by that with no apologies. Hugely important. Also, I think it's okay to have traditional mom skills. What? You mean that a woman should be able to cook and clean? Absolutely. So should a man. By the way, you know who the sewer is in my family right now? Me. I sew. I know how to run a sewing machine. I've been doing it for decades. I'm pretty good at it. I can sew a backpack if I needed to. From scratch. I could sew pants from scratch if I had to. I got better things to do with my time. But just ask Mrs. Nutnfancy if you ever meet her in person and go, hey, does he sew? And prepare to have an earful. She'll go on and on. So I'm not really saying that, hey, this is my defined role in life. This is your defined role in life. And we stay in our own roles. No. But I'm saying as a little girl, as a young woman, as a woman, it's okay to know how to cook good. By the way, Mrs. Nutnfancy does not cook that great. I didn't get that on my list, dude. What am I going to do? Hey, she doesn't cook good, so I'm not marrying this girl. You get a few things, maybe a lot of things. You can't get everything. Again, she didn't get everything on her list. Actually, I don't know if she had a list. Maybe. Cooking good is a skill set that I admire, whether it's from a guy or a girl. But if we're talking about the awesome daughter who becomes, again, the awesome woman, isn't that a good thing? Hey, she's a really good cook. She's cute and she cooks good. Dude, you're going to have guys lining up to take her out, to marry her. On those two things alone. I'm not making this up. I know this from hundreds of friends I've talked to. We have conversations. Hey, does your wife cook good? Sometimes it's, no, not so great. Sometimes, yeah, she cooks really good. And he starts talking to me about how good his wife cooks. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh, describing these awesome dishes she puts together, lasagna, ethnic dishes. And I'm going, man, that sounds great. I wish Mrs. Nutnfancy did that, but she doesn't. It's a great skill set. Sewing, a great skill set. Cleaning a house, a great skill set. And that goes in line with the other stuff we talked about. Guys, do you want to marry a girl, a woman, who refuses to clean the house? She's above it. I know a friend like this. He'd come home from work, solid day of work, comes home, house is a wreck. Sink full of dishes. Wife on the sofa watching soap operas. Is that cool? I say it is not cool. You should be helping out in the house. You know, if you're not working, you're cleaning. If I'm staying home, I'm cleaning. It's kind of common sense, isn't it? I don't think it's a traditional thing at all. I think it's just common sense. So I think mom skills, sewing, cooking, cleaning, they're good to have. I don't apologize for that at all, man. But it goes way beyond that. For instance, children's skills. You know, teach your daughter, and again, mom will have a huge impact in this with your daughters, I know, but so will dad. How do they interact with other children? You know, are they good with children? You know, as guys, we go out with these girls, and maybe they're super hot. Maybe they kiss really good. They're impressive to our other friends. But deep down inside, aren't we asking ourselves, is she marryable material? And we start checking our own lists. Now, granted, maybe, you know, a lot of guys don't make out their own list, write it, but they have one up here. And on that list, I bet you if the guy's quality, he goes, is she going to be a good mom to my children? I guarantee you, any quality guy will have that in his mind. And if the answer is no, he's not going to marry her if he wants to have children. If he's just out to party, have a good time, never have kids, that's different. But if he wants to have kids, he's going to look and say to himself, does this girl have mom skills? Will she be a good mom? Is she patient? Is she kind? Is she creative? Can she read to my children? Can she spend time with them? Will she love them? They're real important things in life. Mom skills. Kindness, patience. I love that. Can she be frugal? You know, if I go out and make this money, is she just going to go out and spend it all at the mall? Or can she budget and provide for the family with the money I'm able to bring in? That's an important thing. If you're going to raise an awesome daughter, she should have these skills. You, dad, can teach her a lot of these things. Budgeting, frugalness, modeling the behavior, talking about it, sitting down with her, teaching her how to do a checkbook. How many people do that these days? Well, no one uses checks. You should still budget. You know, and girls who overspend the amount of money they have are going to create huge problems, probably leading to divorce later in life, probably leading to misery. And dads, you can prevent that. You can head it off right now. Next one. I like this one too. Especially with daughters, it could play to boys as well, but warn her of evil in this world. Don't make her paranoid about evil, that's not what I'm saying, but make her aware of what's out there. Yes, life is a minefield, and dad, you have the obligation of teaching her how to navigate through it. For instance, society's over-sexualization. Your daughter is going to be thrown right into this. Okay? If she doesn't have the toolkit from you, dad, from you, mom, of how to not become a victim in this process, maybe she will be victimized in one way or another. She needs to be not paranoid, but wise. Social media is a part of that. What's appropriate in social media? Hey, should I post a naked picture of myself on whatever website you want? Just as a joke to my boyfriend at the time. Granted, we've only been together a week, but here I'll just post a naked picture. Ha ha ha, it's funny, funny, funny. Why? Because dad never said it wasn't appropriate. There's no value system there that taught me otherwise. Now, granted, kids may just do it anyhow. Even though you say, hey, don't ever do this, kids are rebellious at times. I was. Maybe she still does it. But you need to warn her of the consequences of her actions. Remember those real talks I was talking about? You sit down and you just talk about stuff. This is one of the topics that should come up. Teach her about sexual predators. They're out there. What do? Be honest. Be frank. You're not doing your daughter, in my opinion, any service by overprotecting her. Hey, there's people out there that rape girls. This is what rape is. There's people out there that will misrepresent themselves, both online and in life, to get you alone so they can do bad things to you, perhaps even leading to your death. I told you I was going to talk frank, and I am. And you should talk that way with your children as well, because there are evil people out there that will look to exploit your beautiful little girl for their own evil purposes. You need to give her a shield of defense, and the first thing is wisdom. to recognize these people for what they are. There should be warning signs going off in her mind because mom and dad have equipped her to recognize these people. And she should get the heck out of there. Not be paranoid, be aware. Now, when we talk about being overprotective, I would like it if children go out in their neighborhood and play. Even though there's predators out there. There's a way to do it though. But I've seen people who are so afraid of the world themselves, they impart that fear to their children and they huddle inside. Their kids never go outside. Now, can something bad happen to your child if they're out in the neighborhood playing? There's no guarantees in life. But you have to balance things out as a good parent. You know, we talked about overcoming fear, instilling self-esteem. You know, play is an important part of that. Playing with other kids in the neighborhood. Have a parent group. You know, watch your kids. Check on them. Let her get out. Let her play. Keep an eye on her. She probably has a cell phone. You can track it, right? I mean, on an iPhone, you have Find Friends. You'll know where she is at all times. Teach her to be smart. You know, don't get in a car with a stranger, no matter what that stranger says. If any freak comes up to you, have a whistle around her neck where she can blow it. I guarantee you that guy's going to leave when she starts blowing that whistle. She will. But I think it's wholesome to let them get out and play and be normal kids. You know, just being raised on the living room floor, I don't know if that does it for her. Warn her of evil. Be frank about evil in this world, but don't make her overly fearful. Just prepared. Okay, if I had a little girl nowadays, I would put a whistle on her. I would teach her all these things, but I would still let her go outside and play. I would still let her go out and ride her bicycle. It's normal, it's healthy, it teaches her so many things. Being overly protective to your children does them a disservice. Is life totally free of risk? No, it's not. So why create an artificial environment that does not prepare your child for real life? Now, along with this, we're talking about warning her of evil. Give her a skill set to defend herself when it's appropriate. Yes, up to and including firearms. You know, that was on my list too when I was dating. Girl must know how to shoot. Mrs. Nutnfancy came from a shooting family. A hunting family, but she knew how to shoot and she was on board with a gun issue. She was on board with a self-defense issue for firearms. That's a good thing. Again, it can attract a very, high quality dude to marry your daughter someday. And it will protect her in the process. She should be good with firearms. Good with non-lethal, tasers, maybe even an ass baton or something like that. Pepper spray. Be smart. You know, I'm amazed at what I see sometimes out in the world, you know, with pretty ladies jogging, obviously with no weaponry whatsoever. You know, I'm not saying be fearful, but be prepared. What if? What if someone tries to victimize you that day? How many women do you hear about in the news, little girls too, going missing, never to be heard from again? You know, if they had pepper spray, a taser, a Glock 26, chances are they never would have been attacked or abducted. They'd still be here today. Dad, that's your job. Teach your daughter about evil, how to defend against evil, first and foremost, by situational awareness. Secondly, if that fails, by weaponry, non-lethal and lethal, if necessary, the last point. You guys will like this one too. And I guarantee you, you did not see this one coming. We're talking about the awesome daughter, how to raise her, specifically talking to dads. Model life through play. Everything we talked about can be modeled through a good play environment by you, Dad. At what age, Nutton? What are you talking about? As soon as your little girl can crawl, you can start playing with her. Teach her, read to her, spend time with her, that quality time. And in the process, play with your children. Now, if you go to Tactical Doodle's channel, I think he has a couple videos out on this about how I taught my boys to play, about my selection of toys for my boys. Hey, that rhymes. And it's critical to their upbringing. It is very formative on their life's perspectives on a lot of different things. And here's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to show you a scenario of what I would do with a daughter. I'm going to kind of make it up as I go. Okay? And no, I'm not kidding. To illustrate this, I'm going to use these toys right here from Playmobil. One of my all-time favorite toys for kids. Why? Because it is life in miniature. For instance, they have ambulances, they have helicopters, planes, cars, bicycles, submarines, animals, people of all sorts and descriptions. Your little girl and your little boy will love them, and you can model life by playing with them. Now, here's a caveat. Perhaps you, Dad, and even Mom, did not come from a play background, and I see this a lot, that people don't know how to play. They don't know how to use their imagination. This is one reason I've spoken out against video games, because there's no imagination required. It's just right there. Kid sits back, he's entertained, he enters in artificial reality, and there's really no, innovation taking place there. What I want to show you right now is pure innovation, and I'm not kidding. We're really going to do this right now. I've got to change the camera. I got to come down here. You guys are going to dig this. I'm not making this up. Hey, what's that gun doing there? No, it's not a gun review. That is an XDS, by the way, and I love it. Cool. It's just hanging out. I don't know why. So, Playmobil situation. We have a road here, and we're going to pretend we're playing with your little girl, okay? Check this out. Here comes Playmobil go-kart. Missing the steering wheel. Don't know where it is. Playmobil bicycle. We're going to say these two friends are out playing together. And as I go through this scenario, you tell me what life lessons can be extracted from this play scenario, okay? No, I'm not messing around. This is dead serious. And let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's much better. We're going to say these two friends are going to be a little bit careless. They're not really paying attention. We're going to teach some of life's consequences here. There's a construction zone. They're coming down a hill. And by the way, you can make up all of this. It doesn't mean you have to have something set up. We can just imagine things. We can say, hey, there's going to be a lake here or something. So it's a construction zone. These guys are coming, flying down this hill. And first, here we go. I'm not going to narrate this anymore. I'm just going to do it for you. And I'm going to pretend like I'm playing with my little girl. So this guy's name's Enrique. This guy's name is Jose. I just came with those names. I don't know why. Hey, man, let's go down this hill, man. It looks really cool. Hey, I bet you I'll go faster than you will. No, you won't. I'll totally beat you. By the way, when I'm doing this, you watch your kids' expression. They will be transfixed upon what you're saying. It's like they're watching a movie when you're animating these characters for them. I know from experience, by the way. Okay, go first. Hey, I don't know if we should do this, man. It looks dangerous. No, man, I'm awesome. I can totally do this. Meanwhile, they don't see that this car's coming right here, okay? You know, I wish I had a bigger play space, but you'll get the point. So this dude, by the way, has been drinking. And I'm going to tell my daughter this, that he's drunk. He doesn't really know how to operate his car very well. Okay? This is a play situation. It's teaching life's consequences. So here he comes. Flying through the intersection. He doesn't stop. This kid's coming down here. This kid goes flying, and he goes flying off this cliff. Well, let's bring it back. We won't make it that fatal. We'll just say he goes flying off his go-kart, gets hurt really bad. Here comes, I think this was Jose, right? Comes up there, he skids, and he almost wrecks too. He skids. Oh, man, look out. This guy comes over here, tips over. Enrique, or Jose on his bike, crashes too. Now we got two kids down. We don't know what the condition of this guy is. Yeah, we're playing. Oh, man, that's way too violent for little girls. No, it's not. It's a play situation, dude. So here comes the family. They're driving in the car. They come up to this situation. There's a mom. There's a dad. You can see there's a few preparedness supplies in the back, right? You might know where I'm going with this. They jump out like, oh my gosh, these people got hurt. This kid's not moving. Jose's groaning like, oh man, I'm hurt. Suddenly the Jeep catches on fire. There's fire burning here. Talk to your little girls like, what are we going to do? Maybe let her get involved right now. What should we do? Have her take control of the situation. Maybe she has no clue, so you got to continue to model it. First off, dad gets out. Walks up, are you okay? This little boy's hurt bad. Honey, call, quick. 911. Mom gets on the phone. She was driving. Yeah, we've got a crash situation here on Main Street. We have two children down. We've got a Jeep on fire. Meanwhile, Dad goes in the back, grabs a fire extinguisher. I got this. Flames coming out. Meanwhile, Mom's on the phone. Yeah, we need probably a life flight or at least an ambulance. Ambulance not coming to the scene yet. Dad, meanwhile, goes over and checks on the driver, who was drunk, yes. Doesn't mean he doesn't deserve saving. He does. Walks over, is like, dude, I need my first aid kit. Yes, he said, dude. Walks over. Meanwhile, the daughter and the little son come out. They're like, oh my gosh, Dad, what should we do? Well, stay away from the flame right now. That may blow up. I'll tell you what. Go ahead and grab that little boy over there and drag him to safety, and I'll get the first aid kit. Now, this may not, I want to interject this. This may not be totally realistic, but you're teaching concepts to your child, and that is being a sheepdog. Little girl goes over, drags Jose, gets him away from the flames. Little boy goes over, grabs this dude, I forgot his name, sorry, drags him over here. Meanwhile, Dad's working on the fire. He puts out the fire, and then we hear the ambulance in the distance. Comes to a stop. Roof comes off on this Playmobil ambulance. Pretty awesome. Medic gets out, comes to the door. We'll pretend he can fly. Whoosh, comes down. And by the way, I forgot to say this. Dad has his level 2 first aid kit. How you doing? Comes back here. By the way, the ambulance almost ran over these kids. By the way, I forgot they were over here. Starts working on the kids, giving them first aid. Fires out. Mom gets out of the car, by the way. It's hard to animate everything. Pulls dude to safety. Oh man, get out. Are you okay? Hey, he's not responsive. I don't know what his deal is. He might be really hurt bad. The fire's out though. And then the police officer comes. He has a car. He starts taking over. We call the fire department. They'll be here in a minute. How are the little boys doing? Oh, I don't know. Get the stretcher. Get the stretcher. The medic starts working on him. And you can model this any way you want. If it's age appropriate, you might model that one of the kids doesn't make it. What? That's not how a Disney movie ends. Well, we're preparing our children for life, and sometimes people die. Now, maybe it's through their fault, carelessness, whatever, but using Playmobil, we can model a lot of different things in a very fun and engaging way to our children, our daughters more specifically, and I guarantee you they will be putting their minds on record with this situation. I'm going to stop right there, and I could go on and on, as I did with my own kids. I mean, we would go on for hours playing with this situation. We do setups, both with Playmobil, G.I. Joes, Star Wars, all kinds of toys. What have we learned from this situation? Well, I know you guys are all over this. The obvious thing is, be prepared. So in the back of the car, Dad and Mom had a gun, they had a walkie-talkie, they had tools, and other things you can represent, right, in the back of your Playmobil car, or other Matchbox, whatever. Also, that we actually pull over and help people. That Mom and Dad could have driven by and go, hey, let's dial 911. See ya, we got to go to the beach. Suckers! Did we do that? No. We actually pulled over and helped these two little boys, and even helped the drunk guy over here. We modeled being smart, okay, that we pulled the kids away from flame, that this could explode, we realized that, and we actually had them help out, thereby teaching that yes, even little kids can be sheepdogs and they can be participants and helpful in society. We modeled giving first aid. We could have done a lot more, like actually breaking out the bandages, talking about what we're doing, stopping blood loss. We modeled a sense of irresponsibility, that the kids were probably driving their vehicles where they shouldn't be. We modeled irresponsibility on the part of this driver who was drunk. We could talk about that and what it means to be drunk and how it impaired his capabilities. We modeled police officers, first responders, ambulances. You get the picture. So model play with your little girl, with your daughters, and your little boys. But again, we're focusing on little girls here, because it really brings into focus all the things you're teaching her. Okay, your value system as a father, as a mother, comes into play in a situation like this, in a fun way, in an engaging way. I guarantee you the little girl's not going to be sitting there going, this sucks, I want to do something else. No. You know, a little 4-year-old girl, 5, 6, even 7-year-old girl, maybe even older, is going to be totally engrossed with what you're doing. Wow. And then she'll take over and she'll play. And there's a multitude of situations you can teach her that will reinforce the life lessons that you as a father want her to learn. Here are just a couple things that I taught my boys through modeling life in play, just like I did here. And there's 1,000, these are just a few. First, teaching consequences. Yeah, life has consequences. When you do something stupid, when you're unprepared, bad things can happen, kind of like this. And by the way, this is just one scenario. I do some really lighthearted scenarios too. Teaching, I don't know, love of animals. I have a toy dolphin down there. So the dolphin can come in, you know, the little girls swim with them. They go on an adventure in the ocean. They explore things. They find stuff. They come up on a beach. They're talking with each other. So I don't mean to say that every scenario has all these heavy life lessons. No, a lot are lighthearted, and they may or may not have a life lesson at all. But to be more time effective, I'm kind of rolling this one in front of the camera. Okay, next, teach love. For instance, we go back, and I won't point the camera down again, but mom and dad with each other in that car. You could just be driving down the road, and you can model to each other, what are they talking about? Hey, honey, do you want to go get something to eat? Yeah, that sounds good. Where do you want to go? I don't know. I was thinking this. Do you want to go see here? Yeah, I don't like that place. Do you want to go to the Grand Canyon? And on it goes. How you interact here is how they're going to interact in real life. Imagine that. Teach forgiveness, overcoming hardship, teach a sense of humor. Now, if you talk to my boys, I mean, I did some off-the-wall crazy stuff. Not everything has to be realistic. The ambulance may take off on jet motors. He may go crashing. You know, crashing and guys making funny sounds and just being ridiculous. Teach that. It's okay. You know, it's playing. Teach determination, work, skill, happiness, gratitude. The list goes on and on. All through toys. So that's one reason, again, that I'm, you know, kind of down on video games for smaller children, because they get away from learning these things. As a parent, I want to teach them it. You know, I don't know if that video game over there is going to teach these things to my child. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. There's a lot of video games that teach combat, killing people, axing people up, shooting them. You know, I want them to have a value system. I'm going to model it through play. For all these cool things. Again, this is Playmobil. Oh, I forgot to bring in my cool motorcyclist. He was going to be like a sheepdog too. Hey guys, you need some help? I totally have a Nut and Fancy level 2 first aid kit on the back. There you go. Put in a plug-in. I'm going to wrap it up, dudes. The awesome daughter. Those are 10 things I feel that if integrated, and there's a lot more again, these are just 10. I'm not the end-all expert, that's for sure. I'm probably not an expert at all in raising a daughter. However, I've thought about it a lot. I have raised 2 boys. I think they'll be awesome sons for your awesome daughters. And there's a lot of similarity between the 2. But girls are special. They need to be treated special. Not necessarily delicately, but they need to be prepared for life. And in doing so, integrating this stuff here, I'll go over them super quick, loving them, showing them affection, what it means to be a man, exposing them to hardship, trusting them, teaching them with dangerous things, setting and enforcing ground rules, making them independent, dispelling their fears, teaching mechanical aptitude, teaching mom skills, imagine that, warning them, preparing them to defend against evil, and then finally, and perhaps most impressionable upon them, will be modeling life through play. I think in the end, you'll go a long way to making an awesome daughter who again will become an awesome young lady, who again will be an awesome wife and an awesome mother. I wish you all the best. From the Nut and Fancy Project to you.